4 on our Season 4 leaderboard. Both these players head to Roanoke next weekend and play in our Players' Championship. So perhaps this is a preview of things to come for next week. As Merriam will start things off with a Temple of Malady. Scry is going to make his top card now the bottom as we are underway here in round number 12.
Yeah, this Abzan Reanimator deck has definitely been the deck of the tournament. This has been the most popular deck at the top tables, and certainly one that many of the highest profile players have all opted for.
Trinkle Cove is where Ross will start. He is up to 21. Merriam with a Sylvan Caryatid before passing the turn back. So the boss will draw a card. Two-time Invitational champion, currently our defending Invitational champion actually, as he's looking to make top 8 of yet another one of these things. This would be, if he's able to, top 8 all 4 in one season, as he plays a favorite Hoplite after scrying with Temple of Enlightenment and leaving the top card on top.
I love how many more 1/2s for 1 they make these days. Like Monastery Swift Spear, favorite Hoplite.
They used to just kind of make them 2/2s for 1 or 2/1s for 1. I kind
I'm
of like
talking about even before that though, like Rime Dryad, 1/2 Snow-Covered Forest Walk for 1. You know about that guy?
I actually did not know that was a card.
Oh yeah, that was the technology back in '95.
I was gonna say that's not Cold Snap, right?
No, that's Ice Age.
So. Wow.
Yeah, 1/2 Snow-Covered Forest Walk. You didn't think you could just play Snow-Covered Forests without a price to pay.
And Odile Thassa here on favorite Hoplite, gonna make that a 3-power attacker. If things go correctly here for the boss, he'll be drawing 2 cards here in just a moment. You said Rime Dryad?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the original 1/2 for 1. They didn't used to make that many 1/2s for 1. You know, obviously the first one that I think really got widespread tournament dominance was the Weathered Wayfarer, when people were using it to search up.
Whoa! That's a 1/1. Weathered Wayfarer is a 1/1. I challenge you, sir.
Yeah, which one am I thinking of? There's a white 1/2 for 1. Man,
I'm almost positive Weathered Wayfarer is 1/1. We'll take a look.
I don't know.
Yes, bang, still got it.
You still got it. All right.
They should bring that card back. Is that card too good to bring back?
I don't know if too good is the issue. It's more of just a question of whether or not you want to promote that sort of thing. I think they could bring that back if they really wanted to.
God's willing.
Which one is the 1/2 for 1? There's a white utility creature. I feel like it's the sort of thing that Maverick people would play if they had like half as many cards to choose from.
Somebody on Twitter probably knows. Well, it's obviously not Stoneforge.
If anybody can send us, let us know what is the best white 1/2 for 1. There's one that they used to play.
The boss is going to draw some cards here.
Favorite Hopway already up to a 5/6.
It is very angry.
Still a lot of Sylvan Caryatids. At this point, Ross is willing to just throw one in, throw one away, cash it in for 5 life.
The boss is going to play a Tranquil Cove and a Battle-Wise Hoplite before passing the turn back over to Merriam. Merriam going to quickly untap here. I wonder if he has maybe a 7th source of mana and a Hornet Queen here. Well, there is a 7th source of mana. It's just a Whip of Erebos, though, before passing the turn back. So Tom Ross is going to untap and draw a card. It's a copy of Stubborn Denial.
Wow, that's a big game right here.
Yeah.
Now, he missed the Whip of Erebos, so he might not get a chance to hit anything too good, but it does prevent Ross from drawing something like Murderous Cut, Hero's Downfall, or anything in that area, and actually using it to mount a comeback. Now, Ross's Abzan Reanimator deck, unlike a lot that we've seen, does not have Utter End. Instead, he just has more creatures. A 3rd Reclamation Sage main deck and a 3rd Hornet Queen.
This is an Ordeal of Heliod. That's going to go in the Battle-Wise Hoplite, trigger Heroic, so +1/+1, and a little scry action. Top card going to go to the bottom here for Tom Ross. It's time for the beatdown. Trigger. The Battle-Wise Hoplite is going to become a 4/4 now. Sylvan Caryatid is going to chump block the favorite Hoplite. 4 damage going to come across. Ross Merriam is going to go down to 12. Follow-up is the Laguna Band Trailblazer, and we'll pass it back to Ross Merriam, who will draw a card with an active Whip of Erebos, though nothing very good to return. 3 mana going to be tapped for a Corsair of Crewfix. Take a look at the top card here. It's a Doomwake Giant there. That's a land, trigger, gain a life. But I think Merriam may be out of cards, and he is, so he just passed the turn back. Tom Ross very far ahead in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Tom has managed to build 2 major threats, and he has a Stubborn Denial in reserve in case Ross can even draw something to try to get out of this. Ross needs to find a Hornet Queen yesterday.
Yeah.
He's got maybe 2 turns at most.
Those on Twitter believe, Patrick, that you were thinking of the mighty Devoted Caretaker, perhaps?
Yes.
Is that an Odyssey? Nailed it. Yeah, is that the one?
Yes.
It's an Odyssey rare. Target permanent you control gains protection from instant spells and from sorcery spells end of turn. It's like a Mother of Runes-esque type card. Nowhere near as good as the original, but pretty good card. Here's Heliod's Pilgrim. I'm going to search up an Aqueous form.
It's interesting. The Heliod's Pilgrim has opened up a toolbox of sorts. One Aqueous form, 2 Stratus Walks, 1 Ordeal of Heliod. So he's got some nice targets, some bullets to go get. But usually, you're often just going to want to get Ordeal of Thassa.
Little scry action here for the Battle-Wise Hoplite. Heroic trigger due to Aqueous form targeting that. Now we'll see Ordeal of Heliod trigger. So Ross is going to gain 10 life. And now the scry here on Aqueous form, as long as he does remember that, though he might just be happy with what's on top of his deck.
Yeah, he looked and kept from the scry from Battle-Wise Hoplite, so no question Tom's found something to his liking.
And he's going to pass the turn back. We know Merriam's going to draw a Doomweight Giant, so there's that. Siege Rhino's on top of the deck as he sits at 7. He will play the Doomweight Giant. Trigger that, though it won't kill anything.
Yeah, the problem here, of course, is that Aqueous form Battle-Wise Hoplite is lethal if Ross has anything to pump, and he kept a card. So
Merriam's going to have to make this attack.
Yeah,
with
the Courser gets in there just to buy him a little bit of life. In this way, he's hoping that his Doomweight Giant can deter the favorite Hoplite from attacking, and that Ross doesn't have enough pumps to put the Battle-Wise Hoplite up to lethal.
Liquidaman Trailblazer blocks the Courser of Crucifix. Merriam goes up to 9. Defiant Strike will make things pretty interesting here. Tick up there with Heroic. Take a look at the top card, bottom shelf. Now you draw a card from the Strike resolving.
Yeah, if he has anything else, that's lethal. He needs one more way to target, as the Defiant Strike makes it a virtual 8.
Tom taking a look at his hand. You see the Stubborn Denial over there? There's also a Flooded Strand. Another copy of Battle-Wise Hoplite. He's just trying to figure out a way. Is there a way I can get that last point of damage across? Get it over with now instead of later. To be fair, he's in a very good spot as it is. He's going to play a Flooded Strand, sacrifice that. Search up a land. There's the Plains.
That is a Heliod's Pilgrim in his hand, right?
Yeah, he does have a Pilgrim in his hand. I guess the question is there a 1-mana spell that he can search for?
He's already used his Aqueous form, which is his only 1-mana aura.
So he might just have to deploy some more creatures here. For what it's worth, he's still in a pretty good spot. Here's the attacks.
Interesting.
He'll scry, top card going to go to the bottom. Doomweight Giant's going to block favorite Hoplite. So some damage will come across here. And then, of course, Merriam will gain some life due to Whip of Erebos being in play.
Yeah, interesting. What is his plan here? Attacking with the favorite Hoplite gives Ross an opportunity to lifelink off of Doomweight Giant.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that. I guess, he could just attack with the Battle-Wise Hoplite, get the damage through, put him down to 1, and then just pass the turn back. There's a Stratus Walk that he's going to search up. So is there any reason there to attack the favorite Hoplite at all? Siege Rhino the draw. Citadel's going to come into play. Trigger, gain a life up to 5. Top card being a Thoughtseize, which is basically useless now, so not the best draw there for Merriam. But he's going to play a Siege Rhino. He's going to go up to 8 now. Ross going to go down to a very healthy 28. And then he'll have to do some attacking.
Yeah, the other tough thing is that now the favorite Hoplite is tapped, which makes it so that Ross can attack with impunity.
So if he attacks with both of his creatures, he gains 6 life, he goes up to 14. But can Ross make a lethal attack on the way back is the question.
I mean, Ross even has a Siege Rhino to defend himself with. Merriam has a Siege Rhino to defend himself with.
Well, he's going to attack with both his creatures, will Merriam. So he's coming across for 6.
Yeah, the Stratus Walk makes it 13 points of unblockable damage. But Ross has exactly enough life to live now as a result of this ability to attack here.
Well, let's see what the boss can do as we try not to confuse the Rosses here in this match. Temple of Enlightenment was the draw. There's that.
A lot of library manipulation for a white weenie deck.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. See, Light Soul's your 14 to 24.
So he chose to keep?
Oh, you put that card to the bottom.
He did put it on the bottom.
playing that first because he does get the opportunity to cantrip with the Stratus Walk, I think is why he played the Temple to begin things.
Also, he can actually, if he wants, he can he can Stratus Walk the Siege Rhino.
Yep, and slide underneath.
Yeah, which would give him, is that exactly 14? 5 for the favorite Hoplite, 2 Pilgrims is 7, and the Battlewise Hoplite is 7, so that would be 14, but he decides he wants to Stratus Walk the favorite Hoplite.
So I count 6 with the favorite Hoplite, and then 5, 6, 7, so that's 13, so it looks like he comes up a point short, but it looks like somebody top decked to God's Willing.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
and that's game.
That's
yeah, I
gonna do
meant
it.
Stratus Walk on the Siege Rhino.
No, absolutely, because then the Siege
Yeah.
Rhino's in the air, it can't block what's down there, and he's able to attack for lethal. So perhaps Tom Ross may have missed that, but either way, he wins.
Yeah, he had a God's Willing, or drew one anyway, so put it away.
White Blue Heroic up a game here over Abzan Reanimator as we turn our attention to the sideboard here. We will start with Ross Merriam. We'll take a look at One Thought Sees, 1 Hero's Downfall, 3 copies of Read the Bones, a Whip of Erebos, a Soul of Innistrad, 2 End Hostilities, a Glare of Heresy, a Reclamation Sage Nutter End, and then 3 copies of Drown in Sorrow. A lot of options here.
Oh yeah, he's going to want as much of this removal as possible. He's going to be taking out a lot of the slower cards. Doomwake Giant surprisingly doesn't match up that well because of the none of the creatures in Tom Ross's deck have a 1 toughness. So we're going to see Doomwake Giant trimmed or cut entirely, and we're going to see a just removal of some of the slower expensive cards, and we're going to see more Thoughtseize, more Hero's Downfall, more Glare of Heresy, possibly even End Hostilities, but the key theme is more removal.
Do we like Drown in Sorrow in this matchup?
So Drown in Sorrow can be a reasonable complement to the plan. The problem with it is that it's very easy for Tom Ross to make his creatures out of range of it. However, Drown in Sorrow can be a nice complement to an overloaded removal plan because you can use your removal on the big threats, and then Drown in Sorrow can clean up some of the other plays. That, I think, is just a question of how many cards Merriam has in his deck he wants to take out. I would prefer to not have very many Drown in Sorrows after sideboarding, but if you need, it's a totally fine card if you just want to cut something that's slow and clunky.
Okay. We'll take a look here at Tom Ross's sideboard. We'll find an additional copy of Aqua's Form, and in Johnny's presence, 2 copies of Glare of Heresy, 2 Bermasking of Oreskos, a Triton Tactics, 3 Stubborn Denials to go along with his first one in the main deck, 2 copies of Treasure Cruise, Laguna Beyond Trailblazer in a race, and a Moral Obstinacy. What do we like here?
Yeah, I think that the big thing you want is the tempo plays that can get you ahead on mana. Ajani's Presence for 1 mana can counter Murderous Cut or Hero's Downfall. Treasure Cruise for a very small amount of mana can undo lots of attrition, lots of removal. And then finally, Glare of Heresy is often an answer to Abzan decks, but I don't think he's going to want it here because these Abzan Whip decks have things like Whip of Erebos instead of Sorin. And without Sorin or Elspeth, I don't think Siege Rhino is enough of a reason to use the Glare of Heresy. So I think that the primary things are just going to be these removal spells, like these answers to removal spells, like Ajani's Presence and Treasure's Cruise.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. But while we do wait, we will talk about the newest addition to our Creature Collection series. It is the Ooze. 2 free tokens available with each website order over $5. Great time to get a hold of those, given the Star City Games holiday sale that is taking place. You can also throw in, of course, the playmat, the dice bag, the deck box, the sleeves as well. We'll have more of this fun stuff for you guys in 2015. It's anyone's guess, on what those will be. But once we do know, we'll let you guys in the loop here with SCG Live. But you can get the Ooze tokens and all of the fun stuff that go along with this available now at either an open series event like the one we're at here in Seattle or StarCityGames.com.
Would you say that the Christmas special is oozing value?
Yes. Yes, I would. How do you think MJ feels about that? The value man himself, Michael Jacob, he's probably not happy.
I was going to say, I'm thinking of Luis Scott Vargas in terms of that because first, Luis Scott Vargas is nothing if not a lover of value. And he's also the type of guy who makes ooze puns.
Well, he's the king of ooze puns, but when I think of value, I think of one man.
Michael Jacob?
Yes.
Michael Jacob just loves value. That's just true.
The owner of the Value Village.
Yes.
He does not want you to just throw that away.
No.
He was at MJ for a while. Hope he's doing okay. He's
yeah.
in Denver now?
Yeah, he works at our company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I see him every day. A lot of times I'll order chicken parmesan, they'll deliver, and there's always like a piece of bread that comes with it. And I don't really eat very much bread. I'm not really that big into bread.
Unless you're in France.
No, not
do
even
you
in
have?
France. I
Okay.
just go hungry.
Okay.
So I'm not even that big into bread, but the bread always comes with the food, and it's like so much hassle trying to get them to not bring the bread. So I just get all the bread, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with this bread? Fortunately, MJ's right there.
Loves
MJ doesn't
bread.
even really want bread either, but he wants value. And so if there's just bread with no home, MJ is willing to take one for the team and consume as much bread as there is.
At Pro Tour Amsterdam many moons ago, he actually taught me at that Pro Tour. I remember he ate virtually nothing while I was there.
Yeah, I mean, he went pretty deep on like the player dinner
Yes,
Thursday
yep,
night.
yep.
Try to save up the calories to last him for the next few days.
Yep. And there were a lot of cookies, animal crackers. That's what it was, animal crackers.
I think part of it is that he used to not eat during tournaments.
Okay.
But I think he has since adapted he's evolved a little bit his philosophy, but he used to just not eat at all during tournaments. I think kind of a quasi superstitious, don't change your socks during your playoff run type of thing.
If you want to know the way to MJ's heart, Diet Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
That's the way. I figured it out.
See, I thought it was like Final Fantasy, like 74 or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's one way. Video games is one way. Diet Dr. Pepper is the other. You see Merriam's going to cast a Thoughtseize here. That's exactly what the boss is working with. He's, 3 Defiant Strikes, a Battle-Wise Hoplite. This is very reminiscent to what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, this is what happens. You Thougeize, and their whole game plan is just a big house of cards.
Only one creature here for the boss. You see the 3 Defiant Strikes, the God's Willing, the Stubborn Denial, and the Plains, and now the Battle-Wise Hoplite is gone. The question is, does he have a creature on top of his deck? The answer is no. There's a Plains and a passing of the turn. Thoughtseize can make the house of cards crumble, as now here's a Courser, Glare of Heresy on top.
And we're probably going to see at least one, possibly two of these Defiant Strikes, right? Like, He needs to find a creature ASAP.
He'll cast one and cycle a Battle-Wise Hoplite. That's what he's found. Now the question is, does he want to cycle another Defiant Strike?
Signs point to not likely. But you never know.
He is happy. It's time to draw. God's Willing is what the boss has found. He'll sacrifice a Flood Strand right now. See if he wants an island or a Plains. I think we're going to see him deploy a Battle-Wise Hoplite as well. Oh, yeah.
By fetching Island here, he can actually leave his Temple of Enlightenment up so that he can represent Stubborn Denial or God's Willing.
So there's the island. This is the Battle-Wise Hoplite. And he has the ability to leave up some nice spells here in Defiant Strike, God's Willing, and Stubborn Denial. So he has found a creature, thankfully, due to the cycling of one Defiant Strike. Now we got a game again here, as Merriam will be drawing Glare of Heresy for the turn. We'll see what Courser reveals after that. That'll be a Windswept Heath. That's going to come into play. Trigger the Courser. He's up to 19. Top card now is a Reclamation Sage.
Glare of Heresy here. Usually a pretty effective weapon against Blue White Heroic, but Tom knows it's coming and is set up to protect his Battle-Wise Hoplite with a God's Willing.
Top card now is a copy of Siege Rhino. And looks like Merriam wanted to play a Siege Rhino, but maybe he's thinking better of it. We will see. Yeah, it was obvious to begin, but not so much anymore. Yep, there's the Rhino.
I think he was just debating whether or not to attack with his Courser of Crufix, because once he taps out, he knows that there's no attacking with the Courser. A Defiant Strike on the Battle-Wise Hoplite would shut it down.
Defiant Strike here is going to turn Battle-Wise Hoplite into a 3/3, and it'll allow Ross to scry. He'll consult his hand before moving forward. You see the hand right now, 2 copies of God's Willing. There's a Stubborn Denial over there as well. Other card is a copy of Defiant Strike, his 3rd of the game.
Here, Tom Ross basically looking to keep the momentum he's starting to build here, keep it growing. He's going to be under a fair bit of pressure with a Courser and a Rhino in play, both gaining life and putting pressure on Tom's life total. But with another Rhino on the way, Tom needs more than just this Battle-Wise Hoplite.
Top card to the bottom. Now he'll draw a card from Defiant Strike. Of course, that scry was from Battle-Wise Hoplite.
Mortal Obstinacy is quite good here, because of its ability to blow up a Courser of Crufix. If he can get this Battlewise Hoplite big enough that the Siege Rhino can't stop it, you know, it'd be ideal if you could make your Battlewise Hoplite unblockable with Stratus Walker Aqueous form. And he does have the option of God's Willing, naming green, which is surely what he's debating. The question is it better to just develop his board elsewise?
Well, first things first is a land. Now there's the Mortal Obstinacy. Merriam wants to take a look. No surprise there. +1/+1. And then whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice Mortal Obstinacy. If you do, destroy target enchantment. Here's looking at you, Courser. Ross doing a nice job of building his creatures up. Now Battlewise Hoplite becomes a 4/4, actually a 5/5 because of Mortal Obstinacy. And he'll scry now from the Heroic trigger. So take a look. Bottom shelf. Doesn't like that card at all. Very quick scry there from Ross. And now here's an attack. Now Merriam knows about God's Willing, so blocking is probably not that great here for him.
The problem is if he doesn't block, he just loses his Courser for free anyway.
Yep. So he's just going to block with the Courser. That'll bite the dust. Siege Rhino will be turned down. Fast turn back. Merriam will draw. First things first, an attack there with the Rhino. Put Ross down to 11. Play another Rhino. That'll bring him down to 8. Merriam up to 25. Defiant Strike will target this. Scry here. Bottom. Now he'll draw a card off the Defiant Strike. Ordeal of Thoughts is what he's found. Siege Rhino is in there. Someone needs a way to gain some life here. These Rhinos are going to win the game by themselves.
Yeah, this is where Ordeal of Heliod starts looking really good.
Battlewise Hoplite, the draw there for Tom Ross. Perhaps maybe he pumps the brakes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he's at 8 and not 9 for the purposes of this race. But if he has another blocker, which he does, he might just say, okay, I'm going to attack anyway. I need to put as much pressure on Ross as possible. And he does decide to stay home.
Just a Battlewise Hoplite in the passing of the turn with the ability to cast one of the 2 God's Willings as well as Stubborn Denial. So Ross Merriam is going to play a copy of Satyr Wayfinder. Take a look at the top 4 cards. A Thoughtseize, a Hornet Queen, a Hero's Downfall, and a Temple of Malady. The Temple will be added to the hand.
Yeah, this is right on time too. I mean, Ross Merriam had missed his 5th land drop before. He really wants to get up to 7 for Hornet Queen.
Temple, he'll take a look at the top card, figure out where he wants it to go. Giving this scry a lot of thought here. And he's going to leave it on top. Does he have any interest in attacking the Siege Rhino?
He can't punch through yet. The 6/6 Battlewise Hoplite, a formidable defense for Tom Ross, particularly given that Merriam knows he has God's Willing to protect it.
2 Ordeal of Thassus, 2 God's Willing, and a Stubborn Denial over there for Tom Ross. Those are the 5 cards he's looking at. He'll start by playing Ordeal of Thassa on the newer Battlewise Hoplite. That'll turn that into a 3/3. Take a look at the top card from the scry from the Heroic trigger. Going to consult the hand before figuring out where he wants that card to go.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot. He could play another Ordeal of Thassa, draw tons of cards immediately. However, he would be shields down. He wouldn't have Stubborn Denial, and he wouldn't have God's Willing. So instead, he's going to slow play his hand, giving Merriam a little bit more time to set up, but ensuring that his own defense is a little more stable.
Who do you think the long game like this favors?
Well, definitely odds on Reanimator if things go long enough. However, Tom Ross's deck is set up to be able to make some big plays. It's not one of those aggro decks that just fizzles out and has nothing more to offer. Tom can, out of nowhere, present a huge attack and can just completely shift gears as soon as he makes one of his threats unblockable.
Glaive Heresy is actually going to go after the enchantment instead of the creature. A little bit interesting here. Didn't think I would see that this weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting. He, out of respect for God's Willing, goes after the Mortal Obstinacy, but really wants to be able to Courser with impunity.
Temple of Silence is going to come in. Merriam's going to gain a life. Top card going to go to the bottom. Forest will be the draw for Merriam next turn. And he's happy just to pass the turn back. Ross.
The only problem with this is that he still has the God's Willing.
Yep.
Eventually, you're going to have to do something about that.
Trinkle Cove, the draw here for the boss.
But in the meantime, Merriam has the advantage of being able to course her, giving him a little bit of action.
Here's the second ordeal of Thassa, Trigger Heroic. Take a look at the top card here with the Scry.
Tom Ross, a very experienced blue-white heroic player.
Yep.
Trying to sculpt enough of a defense that he can afford to attack here. Remember, if he doesn't play another blocker, Merriam's counterattack could knock Ross to 1.
However, the boss has drawn 4 cards here, thanks to those ordeal Thassa triggers. Seder Wayfinder is going to jump in front of Battlewise Hoplite. And let's see what the boss can put together here after the combat, now that he has all these options available. Going to start with the Tranquil Cove, push himself up to 9. And now, looks to be a favorite Hoplite and just a passing of the turn.
Yeah, I think it's a Laguna band.
It might be a Trailblazer. We'll see if we can get that a little closer on the screen. Top card here is an Urborg after Merriam does play Llanowar Waste at the top of his deck. Ah, the Hornet Queen now.
Yeah, this is a real bad spot for Tom Ross. His deck is not equipped to be able to beat a Hornet Queen.
4 flyers will join it.
This is that end game you were talking about. This is where Merriam's deck is just going to be very difficult for Ross to overcome, particularly given that Merriam has 27 life, making racing virtually impossible.
Stubborn Out can counter a lot of things. The one thing it can't counter is creatures.
True that.
Welcome to round number 3.
Kind of surprised these blue-white heroic decks never play any disdainful strokes.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Feels like that could be a nice little way to stave off the end game for a little bit.
The boss on upkeep looks like he's going to play a God's Willing on Battlewise Hoplite. Trigger the Scry, now resolve the God's Willing. Resolve the Scry here on this card. Does he like what he sees for his draw step? He does not. So that's done resolving. He'll draw a card for the turn. It's a copy of Stratus Wall. Can he somehow punch through enough damage or find a copy of Ordeal of Heliod?
Yeah, I mean, Ordeal of Heliod buys him a turn. In theory, he can just take one full hit as long as he keeps the 2 Rhinos and Courser off his back. What he's got to do is figure out how can he actually win this game in 2 turns.
Dealing 27 over 2 turns. I mean, Heroic can deal a lot of damage.
It's going to have to be at least 28.
That's true, because of the Courser. See Stratus Walk at God's Willing. He's had that Stubborn Denial for some time, but it hasn't had an impact on this game. He's playing some spells now. There's a Stratus Walk there. Scry. Draw.
Tom Ross making a valiant go of it, though. I mean, to begin with, this is 8 right here, knocking Merriam to 19.
Yep.
The Urborg on top ensures that Merriam will have at least 20, which means that next turn, Ross will only barely be hanging on, possibly as low as 1 life, possibly slightly higher, but it's unlikely he can live through 2 turns unless he gets an Ordeal of Heliod, which means that Ross has got to be looking for how he can actually come up with 20 points of damage.
And the creatures that are out there that are untapped for Tom Ross, he's got the Laguna Band Trailblazer, Hero of Iroas, let's make it 2 Trailblazers, in fact, along with a 5/5 Battlewise Hoplite. Kind of brickwalling the Rhinos right now. So Merriam's going to go reaching for the Hornet Queen and 3 of the insects. Come across for 5 in the air.
So 5 in the air puts Ross at 4, but what's interesting about this position is that now, in theory, the Battlewise Hoplite could block the actual Hornet Queen, and if Ross has a blue-white, another Tranquil Cove, he could actually stall for 1 more turn.
Oh Maybe on the upkeep it's time for a God's Willing. We'll see. It looks like the answer is no. Temple of Enlightenment's the draw. That'll be the scry. Top card stays on top there. For
Wow,
Ross.
he keeps.
Really quickly, too.
Wow. And is that looks like that is Ordeal? No, that's a favorite hop white.
Yep. Along with God's Willing and Stubborn and Isle in hand. There's an attack. Merriam reaching, double blocking. Yep, that's fine. Take care of a Siege Rhino. Corsair Crewfix the draw, Siege Rhino on top of the deck.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. Here come the bees.
And we're on to game 3.
Yes, we are. Ross Merriam going to tie things up here against Tom Ross. Abzan Reanimator and White Blue Heroic going to play a third and final game here. We'll see if either player is going to go back to the drawing board with the sideboard, too. It's always something I like to look at, see if they want to change things up, given that their roles have changed between play and draw.
Another perfect example of what Thoughtseize can do to these blue-white heroic decks. Any deck, really, any of the synergistic decks, Thoughtseize can potentially pick apart. The ability to pull out a key card, whatever that might be, so effective. And I think it's very easy for people to underestimate how good Thoughtseize is. It gets talked about a lot, but then a lot of the time you see people wanting to shave Thoughtseizes, play less of them. This is one of the places where you really are rewarded for actually staying the course and playing Thoughtseize.
A very powerful card to be sure. Merriam has 2 in his main deck and the third one in the sideboard, so we
He'll
saw the impact.
surely be bringing in the third if he hasn't already.
Yeah, I imagine it's already in his deck. See, Tom's going to slide some things around. Looks like Ross is going to be doing the same, or at least checking out his sideboard. But while we do wait for game number 3 here, we will talk about Squirrel Confidant, the newest addition to our Squirrel series. You've got the playmat, the dice bag, of course, the sleeves, and the deck box. And then any Legacy Open that you do enter, 2 Squirrel tokens will be given away at random. So it could be Acorn Mystic, could be Force of Squirrel, Squirrel Storm, or this one here, Squirrel Confidant. But you can get the sleeves and all the other merchandise there at StarCityGames.com or any of our Open Series events throughout the end of this year, as well as all the way out through 2015. And hopefully we'll have some new additions to that as well for 2015. I know they got a lot of things in the works there at the home base in Roanoke.
Man, it's crazy how big a part of Magic squirrels are these days.
I think they should bring them back.
Yeah, dude, they bring them back every once in a while. They were in Time Spiral, right?
Yes. I'm thinking. I played that. I should know the answer to this question. So when I think of squirrels, I think of Shadow the Squirrel and Nut Collector just immediately, and those were Odyssey cards.
Yes, that was back in the fall of 2001.
I think there was. I'm almost positive there were squirrels in Time Spiral. I think you're right. I don't know why I can't think of one, but I am. Nope. Squirrel Wrangler was Prophecy.
Deranged Hermit, maybe?
That's Legacy.
What about the Morph Deranged Hermit, though?
That didn't make squirrels. It made Saprolings.
Wow. Then that makes it unlikely for there to be squirrels.
Was the Hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody on Twitter knows. There it is. There's the Thalanite Hermit.
Mistform Ultimus.
Yep, you did it. You saved yourself. Well done. The original Changeling, Mistform Ultimus. Let's bring that back. I like that mechanic, or that keyword, Changeling. That's fun.
You would.
Absolutely, I would. I like that. I want to see a little of that action. I'm excited for Fate Reforged. That thing's almost out now. That new set.
Yeah? Is that like 1 month?
Just about there, yeah. And then it'll be Pro Tour time again. Get to see people work on some modern stuff. Hopefully.
I'm sure that Fate Reforged is going to highlight Pro Tour Fate Reforged is going to highlight all the best new Fate Reforged cards.
I imagine that's the case. Yes.
Or it'll be a modern Pro Tour revolving around Treasure Cruise or Birthing Pod, depending on if they ban Treasure Cruise.
Well, I don't think they're going to ban Birthing Pod at this point, but
no, not yet.
We'll see.
Hopefully not ever. Hopefully it never comes to that.
Did you ever think that Birthing Pod should go? Or do we ever get to that point?
No, but I've thought that it was a consideration.
Okay.
You know, it's like one of those borderline type of things, but it never holds on to the top. Birthing Pod keeps doing very, very, very well, but then people are able to adjust. It never holds the top spot. I also kind of think that it promotes such a different sort of deck building, and the sort of natural evolution of the Birthing Pod deck seems to be in kind of a Abzani, mid-rangey, a surprisingly healthy direction. You know, they haven't been focusing on the Deceiver Exarch type combos. They haven't really been focusing on Kiki Jiki or Molyra. I mean, I think that the fact that the Birthing Pod decks have looked so much like real healthy decks, combined with the fact that they never hold on to the top spot for very long, makes Birthing Pod a perfect candidate to just be a really good deck in a format.
Fair enough. A couple Temple of Enlightenments to start here for Ross. Now a favorite Hoplite.
Besides, Bloodbraid Elf being unbanned is gonna help mix that whole thing up a little bit.
Shake it up a little bit.
God, I hope they unban Bloodbraid Elf. They should. What do you even play? Bloodbraid Elf or Siege Rhino?
Both.
Dude, see, I like the way you think.
Can I get on the Pantheon? I just cracked it.
Wow.
Get your Treasure Cruises out of here, both in the same deck. Bingo.
Well, no, I assume that they would ban Treasure Cruise, because if Treasure Cruise was legal, there's not a chance in the world I'm going to play Treasure Cruise. Are you kidding me?
Let's see what Tom Ross can put together on his third turn of the game here, as he does have an heroic creature, so that's not the problem. It looks like he's got a Battle-Wise Hoplite as backup, too. The question is, does he have an Ordeal Thassa or anything to pump up the jam with? And it looks like he might, but it's going to take his time here, figuring out what he wants to do on the third turn of the game. Knowing that something large could be coming, since there's a Sylvan Caryatid out there. He'll start just by attacking.
I love this, because if he has a Defiant Strike, Ross Merriam blocking would get destroyed. So this is just a free point of damage for Tom, as Merriam can't afford for there to be a Defiant Strike here. I love that attack from Tom Ross. Feat of Resistance, too, would have done it. That's just a veteran attack, you know, the free damage.
Battle-Wise Hoplite's the follow-up, pass the turn back with just 1 mana available.
And it was a bluff on Tom's part.
3 mana, here's a Courser. It's going to resolve. Top card, Sylvan Caryatid. Does he not have a land?
And we are seeing why it was so important for him to not try calling Tom there.
No land indeed. The draw's favorite Hoplite.
Mortal Obstinacy would be great here.
I think he has it in his hand.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, he puts that under the Battle-Wise Hoplite. Bada bing, bada boom. That is real bad for Merriam.
Yep, you can see it right there. He's going reaching. And there it is, trigger.
Yeah, and if he puts Ordeal of Thassa on there too, then he actually gets the extra cards. This is exactly what Tom Ross wants to be doing. Now, if he can just find a God's Willing or an Ajani's Presence or a Stubborn Denial, something to protect his investment, he'll be in real good shape.
Well, perhaps the Ordeal will draw him into that if he wants to make the move. And he is considering things right now.
Remember, the Ordeal takes 3 counters, but he gets 2 the same turn, 1 from the heroic trigger and 1 from the attack. So the fact that the Battle-Wise Hoplite already has the Mortal Obstinacy on it means that he'll get the cards immediately.
Oh, no need to scry, because he was happy with what he found, so he'll draw 1 and 2.
And it looks like that is a God's Willing.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, things are firing on all cylinders for Tom Ross here.
And now it's like Merriam has to block. He almost has no choice, right?
Well, it depends. See, the problem is if you block, then Ross still has the Mortal Obstinacy,
okay,
which makes any other coursers he might draw worthless.
He is going to block.
He does decide to block. It also means he's going to take 1 extra damage a turn from the Obstinacy staying on it.
Here's a Satyr Wayfinder. Let's take a look at the top 4. Sansep Citadel, Siege Rhino, Murderous Cut, and a Courser of Crucifixa. Merriam does find a land there to play. And he'll put that into play and pass the turn back.
Merriam being very, very careful with his life total, as he knows that this blue-white heroic deck is capable of switching into unblockable mode at a moment's notice.
Land number 5 could be an island. There that is. We've seen Tom Ross do this before. Once he finds something he likes for the turn, he gets moving very, very quickly. There's an Ordeal of Thassa. Trigger, heroic. Take a look at the top card. It's going to become the bottom card.
Battle-Wise Hoplite continuing to grow.
Trigger Ordeal.
Up to an 8/8 at this point.
He is not messing around. He has protection for it too. There's a block. Satyr Wayfinder is going to bite the dust. Favorite Hoplite. It's going to come through for a point of damage. Merriam still respecting the fact that Ross could have Defiant Strike from turn to go. We can see his hand. He still doesn't. But given that Merriam needs that Sylvan Caryatid, he can't afford to block.
What Ross has got to be careful about here, and this is surely the calculation he's doing. He very wisely is playing around end hostilities. Very smart. He's got a lot of things going for him. The worst thing that could happen to him is an end hostilities, because that God's Willing, well, it stops almost anything Merriam would do, cannot stop that.
Seder Wayfinder's going to turn over a couple of cards here. 3 lands in Temple of Silence, Windswept Heath, and Llanowar Waste. And Whip of Erebos will go to the graveyard. There's another copy of Seder Wayfinder, so let's take a look at more of them.
Yeah, the big thing that Merriam has going for him now is that he is actually developing his mana base. He's starting to actually get where he needs to be. He's got a bunch of chump blockers in the form of these Seder Wayfinders, and his graveyard is extremely stocked. This means Murderous Cut is super cheap, and Whip of Erebos has got juicy targets like Hornet Queen.
There's a Temple of Silence. Take a look at the top card now.
Now, the problem, of course, is that it's going to be a while before he can actually reliably whip, because if Tom ever God's Willings his Battlewise Hopway, he could make it unblockable, which could then destroy the Whip of Erebos.
The boss draws a copy of Heliod's Pilgrim.
Things are just snowballing. I mean, Tom draws a card every turn for his draw phase, but he keeps using these Ordeal of Thasses, and he's got another one in his hand.
Yep.
He's effectively just drawing 3 cards a turn.
And now with the ability to maybe find a card like Aqueous this morning to make sure that blocking can't occur, or Stratus Walk to cantrip. Here is Heliod's Pilgrim. This one might be a runaway here.
Yeah, absolutely. If he puts Aqueous Form on this Battlewise Hopway, with God's Willing in hand, he's got the win, assuming that Ross can't come up with 2 removal spells in the next turn. This is a real fast clock, real fast clock. I mean, Merriam could potentially possibly buy himself a small amount of time if there's a Siege Rhino, but even that, I mean, Merriam is hitting for 18 as is. If he uses the God's Willing proactively, that's 20.
It looks like he's going to go with Aqueous Form, and he will. Thought about it for a little while and settled on the 1 mana enchantment.
Remember, the alternative would have been Stratus Walk, which would also only cost 1 mana because of the Hero of Erois.
Yep.
And it has the upside of being able to give Ross an extra card. Ross is thinking, of course, that he doesn't know for sure that Merriam doesn't have something like a rock or a Sorin that could potentially make a flyer, and he wants to, he doesn't want to take any chances with having his guy be blockable at all.
Here's an Ordeal of Thassa too.
So this ensures that there's no way that Ross can live through the turn without killing that, without killing the Battlewise Hopway.
Yep. Ordeal's going to trigger. Draw 2 cards.
In theory, he could utter end the Aqueous Form, I suppose, and just try to chump block.
Yep.
That is a tough way to do it.
You saw Tom resolve Ordeal of Thassa first, and then resolve the Scry from Aqueous' form. As you already knew, the top card of his deck from Battlewise Hoplite Scry early in the turn, so he's happy with what he's seen. And that's a big Battlewise Hoplite as Ross Merriam is at 6. Ross is going to start by playing a Thoughtseize.
And this is great because this could potentially take the 1 God's Willing from Tom, which means the removal spell, if Ross has a removal spell, he could actually stick it. And while Tom has a Feat of Resistance, because of his mana situation, he can't actually access it. So if Merriam takes the God's Willing here, Tom has a brief window where shields are down.
Hey, you see the hand there for Tom Ross. It's a favorite Hoplite, a God's Willing, a Feat of Resistance, and a Plains. So Merriam leading out with a Thoughtseize, even though it brought him from 6 to 4, may give him the best opportunity to win this game.
Now the problem, of course, is that the Feat of Resistance is representing a 4 points of damage on the Hero of Erois next turn. So Merriam, even if he has a removal spell for the Battlewise Hopway, is not out of the woods yet.
And Ross Merriam giving this a lot of thought on what card he's supposed to take with the Thoughtseize. Don't know the contents of his hand all that great. Though if he does have something like 2 copies of Murderous Cut and he does play 3 in his main deck, we could have ourselves a game here.
Yeah, it's going to take Murderous Cut to turn this around, I suspect.
You also have the combination of Hero's Downfall plus Murderous Cut, but as you mentioned, it's Murderous Cut. That's the big one.
Yeah, End Hostilities would also work if he has an untapped land here. But it's just so improbable that he would have an End Hostilities the way this game is played out.
He's taking his time, figuring out how things are going to go, not only this turn, but probably on the next one as well.
Glare of Heresy, I guess, is theoretically another live draw,
Yep.
which could potentially allow him to play 2 removal spells in the same turn.
And he's come to his decision. God's Willing is going to go to the graveyard. There's a land.
And he might just be on hope that Ross doesn't see the play.
Reclamation Sage will take care of Aqueous' form. Okay. Has to
So
turn
this
back.
means that at least he beats the board if Ross doesn't go for it. However, if Ross goes for it, Merriam will die unless he has a Bile Blight or a Murderous Cut. And actually, I don't think he even has Bile Blight in his list.
Nope.
So it is just if he has one of the Murderous Cuts.
Fate of Resistance right now on Hero of Iroas. It's going to resolve.
Oh, the fact that it has resolved means this is, yep.
Yeah, that's going to do it right there. You see Merriam's hand of Whip of Erebos, Hero's Downfall, Sylvan Caryatid, and a land. Tom Ross not scared of Ross Merriam bluffing. He's moving on to 9-3. He just 4-0'd here, the standard portion with White Blue Heroic.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, who would have thought? Tom Ross at an Invitational?
Doing well?
Yeah, this is, for those, just tuning in, remember, Tom Ross has won each of the last 2 Invitationals. He's one of only 2 players to ever win 2 Invitationals, him and Pro Tour top 8 competitor Jerry Thompson.
That's correct.
The Tom Ross, the boss, is actually, he's got some momentum going. He is trying to make a go at the three-peat. At this point,